Niche list, top 10 winter fragrances. I know I'm late. Deal with it. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? I'm Joshua, if you haven't already learned this, and this is our channel, ScentSense. To all the loyal subscribers who seem to stick with me through thick and thin, and the ones who continue to come back for more when I drop these new videos, to you people, thank you. And to all you new people who are maybe checking out the channel for the very first time and you haven't made up your mind if you should stick around, you don't have to be like a old Prince dude from England and, you know, tuck tail and run with your wife because you're too emotional. Just stick around. It ain't that bad, bro. Today we'll be talking about 10 fragrances from the niche world and the indie world of fragrances. These are fragrances that I've worn this winter thus far here in South Louisiana, which is the most sporadic winter we've ever had. And fragrances that I will continue to wear in these random days when it's 30 and 40 degrees, and then the next day it's 70. These are higher end fragrances. These are fragrances that cost a little bit more money, and these are fragrances that I suggest you delve into if you're bored of the same humdrum of the designer realm. Some of these have been sent to me by people for review. Some of these I've bought with my hard-earned money. Some of these are YouTube creators' fragrances, and some of them I had a part in creating. But enough rambling, let's get into what you came here for, the list. Starting off the list at number 10 is a fragrance from the house of Etat Libre d'Orange. This fragrance is a very vetiver-centric fragrance. This is one that I reach for when I want to have that crisp, cold day with that great green, inviting scent of vetiver. I love vetiver. Haven't found many fragrances that I don't really care for with vetiver. The only one I haven't cared for so far is Guerlain's vetiver. I found that it was a little bit too sharp. I didn't find that it was smooth. I just wasn't a big fan of it. But this fragrance is awesome. It's not aptly named. It's a weird name, but that's what you get when you get Etat Libre d'Orange. Coming in at number 10 from the house of Etat Libre d'Orange, it is Fat Electrician. I am on the thicker side. I am a thick dude, but I am no electrician. But this one doesn't make me feel like a fat electrician. It makes me feel like a really cool guy. This one is a little more creamier than the average vetiver. This one has a little more of a natural vibe to it. This is not screechy. This is not dank. This is a smooth, creamy vetiver. This is something that you should reach for if you want to jump into the niche world of vetiver and you want to get away from the vetiver that you've had in these common designer fragrances that are out there. And no, I don't mean like common as in like looking down on them. I mean as common as in a lot of people know about them. Calm your tits. Moving along, coming in at number 10 from the house of Etat Libre d'Orange, Fat Electrician. At number 9 is a fragrance that is the largest bottle in my collection. I got it on a sweet, sweet deal, and it was the option that I had. I would have normally gone with a smaller bottle, but let's look at it this way. It's a beautiful bottle. It's a beautiful bottle. The fragrance bottles that this brand usually puts out are not nearly as beautiful and as opulent looking. And this one is from the house of Memo at number 9, African Leather. What I get from African Leather is a fresh, brand new, authentic leather jacket. You just bought it from Macy's. You ordered it online. You open the box. You pull out the tissue paper. You pull the plastic wrap off of it because that's how they do it. And you smell it coming out of the box. That new leather jacket smell. This is slightly animalic. This is a little more like realistic leather. This is not like super, super sweet leather. This is really real, authentic leather. I often wear this when I want to smell like I'm very, very fresh and I smell like I'm just gonna go conquer the day and I'm just ready to roll. This is something I wear when I wanna feel, I just wanna have I call it a manly day, you know? I wanna wear a watch, I wanna spray this on, I wanna dress nice, and I just wanna feel good about myself. This is something I reach for. This I feel has an animalistic vibe to it and it kind of pulls you towards more of the masculine, more dominant notes of fragrance. I love this guy. Coming in at number 9 from the house of Memo, that is African Leather. At number 8 is a YouTuber created fragrance. This is a fragrance that I will wear for the easy wear for the office, easy wear for the day of work, something that I can just spray on and will easily work for me. People won't be offended, people will like it, and sometimes I could wear it maybe in the evening. This is definitely something I think is a safe dumb reach, something you can just easily wear, easily apply, can be the only fragrance you really wear. Coming from the house of Jeremy Fragrances, Fragrance.One, that is Office for Men. Now I know what you're thinking. Josh, didn't you do a video in the past where you talked about Fragrance.One when it was just being launched in a rectangle bottle and how you thought the bottle was crap and you thought that, you know, the fragrance wasn't very good and it was overrated and it was overhyped and it smelled like rubbing alcohol and was really sharp and it was just really loud and screechy and not an office fragrance. All those things are still true about that one, but I don't care what Jeremy says. I don't care what anyone else says. This is different. This one, in my opinion, is a more subdued fragrance that takes away that screechiness, that loudness. I find that this one is a more subtle, more mature approach to the fragrance. I find that this is what should have been done in the first place. Having said that, I still don't like the bottle. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the bottles, if you go Google it, the old Ocean and Noir and Paris and the bottles from Bath and Body Works, this is identical to that bottle. Same cap, same everything. And this cap, I don't know if you can see this, is just jank. But at the end of the day, it's more important about what's inside. You've heard me say that before. So when it comes to this fragrance, to me, this is a great dumb reach, something that would be super easy. And right now, Jeremy's doing really good sales and making this fragrance worth the price you pay for it. It's like 60% off. He does them all the time on his Instagram, 60% off for the next 60 minutes. So you could get this for a much cheaper price. You're looking at around $80, $90 US. So then it's worth it. It's on par with your Bleu de Chanel's and your Sauvages and things of that nature. And I think that it's worth that level of fragrance. I think this is a really good one for that. Coming in at number 8 from the house of Fragrance.One, that is Office for Men. At number 7 is a fragrance that I will be reviewing very soon from the house of Jusbox. It has quickly become my favorite house in the niche world, and that is not an exaggeration. I would have to say it is my favorite because it does some things that most niche fragrances don't do. Number 1, value for your dollar. They definitely last longer than most niche fragrances, and they definitely project better, and they're definitely more unique. Number 2, they come up with special and unique ideas about why the fragrance is what it is, why it smells like it smells, and why it looks like it looks. Lastly, number 3, they bring the world of music to fragrance and fragrance to music. They use notes, aka music notes, to influence notes in fragrance. Coming in at number 7 is a fragrance from the golden age of music. The fragrance is Golden Serenade. Let's just take a little bit of time to look at this bottle. You've got this beautiful gold record vinyl on the top. It's got the beautiful gold on each side. You've got the beautiful gold liquid in the inside of the bottle. It's exactly 78 milliliters, which most people at face value will think is weird, but it's because it harkens back to a record size. The RPMs of what a record spins is just, the attention to detail in this is fantastic. It's super solid glass bottle. I mean, this cap is out of this world. And I haven't even talked about what it smells like. This is a very thick, mature, opulent fragrance. This has an oud note in it that is spectacular. This is something that you're gonna wear dressed up. This is a suit and tie with the black bow tie and the wings in the back. This is that really great fragrance that you would picture in those old films when the guys would be like, "Frankly, ma'am, I don't give a damn." Like, I feel like if this was a commercial for this, they'd be like, "Extra, extra, read all about it. Go and smell new Golden Serenade from Jusbox." Having said that, this is something that I think is a light sprayer. This is not something you want to spray a bunch of sprays. And as you can see, the sprayer from this is really awesome. Man, this one is really good. I think that this is probably one of the best, thick, dark, just heavy fragrances that I've smelled on the market. I think this does what most niche fragrances don't do when it comes to that. They don't do it smooth. They don't do it very accessibly. So coming in at number 7 from the house of Jusbox, Golden Serenade. That was intended to be more of a summer or spring fragrance, but when Near created this, he ended up making a fall winter masterpiece. Coming in at number 6 from the house of Perfumology, the fragrance is Clutch. If you're looking for something that is a quintessential fall and winter fragrance, something that you wear in the low 50s, rolling the windows down, listening to leaves rustling off the asphalt as you zoom in and out of curves. I know it sounds cliche, but that's what this smells like. And to be honest with you, when it comes to that, this comes in the clutch. Near created this for something he was visualizing while driving, and this is the perfect, in his opinion, driving fragrance. This reminds me of those leather gloves that you wear when you drive, if you're driving a European sports car, a little bit of a boozy smell to it. This is just a cool fragrance, man. You just feel like a cool dude wearing it. This is something that's very unique and different when it comes to those kind of fragrances. I definitely think you should check it out. It's not very expensive. It's below $100. I know it's only 50 milliliters, but it's plenty enough juice, and 1 to 2 sprays is more than enough. People, you need to take that into consideration, that when you buy niche fragrances for a high price at a smaller bottle, it's also because the fragrance oils in here are usually eau de parfum or parfum extract, and they're super strong. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a parfum extract, and this is a super strong and long-lasting fragrance. From the house of Perfumology, Clutch. At number 5 is a fragrance that I will be reviewing in the upcoming months. Something you've seen ad nauseum, but it's something that I want to talk about, and it's a fragrance that I actually truly enjoy. My wife, however, hates this fragrance. She thinks it smells like flat Dr. Pepper or flat Coke or flat Pepsi. She thinks it's whack. She thinks it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense to her how it costs that much. But at the end of the day, she also thinks that Curve Crush doesn't smell bad. So, you take what you get. At number 5 from the house of Roja Dove, we have Creation E Parfum Cologne. Number 1, I hate the name Creation E. I much rather Enigma, especially when you have all the other ones that are one-word names like Scandal, Danger, Vetiver, Elysium. The one-word name just sounds better, and the Creation E just kind of sticks out. I don't know. But this fragrance does stick out from the crowd when it comes to those fragrances. What you're going to get is a cola vibe from this fragrance. She's not far off when she said that. It's a spicy cola vibe. It doesn't smell flat to me. It smells lively. It smells effervescent. It smells bubbly, but it still has a lot of those notes that you get from wintertime fragrances. And I think that this would be a perfect indoors, cool weather fragrance. This is definitely something that you can wear in close quarters. This is something you can wear maybe if you're in like a restaurant that's kind of small and quaint, you want to keep it to yourself, something that you will definitely smell in a car off of somebody. This is definitely something that you could wear for a date night. It's something that would be nice to wear dressed up. I mean, for the price you pay for it, you better be dressing up nice. At number 5 from the house of Roja Dove, that is Creation E. At number 4 is a fragrance that some people would not expect to see in a winter list, but this is something that I just got, and I've been wearing it and enjoying it, and it's something that I'm going to continue to wear, and I don't really care about seasons all too much, but I do understand and respect that some fragrances are better worn in certain seasons. This is one that I will definitely wear this winter and continue to wear. It is something that I find evolves more and more in my skin as I wear it, and it's something that is so potent that it blows my mind how long this lasts. I'm talking 12, 15, 20 hours, 20 plus on clothes. This is something that it's just ungodly how long it lasts. And from the house of Centauri Perfumes, we're talking about GAEA. GAEA represents earth. This is a earthy, green, mossy, dense, soil-based, just living earth personified in fragrance. That's exactly what you're going to get from this. Lola at the channel Lola Scents, you should go check her out, did a perfect review on this. I'll be reviewing this fragrance also. I'll try my best not to sound like a repeat of her, but she made some great points, and I didn't realize them until after I smelled it. But the one thing that sticks with me that I haven't heard her say is that this thing transitions so much throughout the life of the fragrance. In my opinion, this is like an evergreen forest that continues to change and mold and shape itself and come to life through seasons. I find that this is just beautiful. And when it comes to bottles, this is just ridiculous. I mean, this was made by Peter from the Fragrance View, and no knock to anybody else who's had the balls to go out there and create their own fragrance or be a part of their own fragrance being created in any way, shape, or form, good or bad, half-assed in or full-ass in. This is, in my opinion, the most attention to detail. The cap is huge, heavy. It's got lots of detail on it. It's got the logo on the top of the cap. It's got the name written on the cap. The bottle is unique. No one else has this. It's got the embossed label on the front. It's just a really amazing presentation. And he didn't skimp. He told you he would make something that was niche quality, but he didn't stick it in a freaking bottle that looked like he bought it off of a shelf of laid off bottles that were supposed to be bottled for some other cheap $20 grocery store or drugstore fragrance. Coming in at number 4 from the house of Centauri Perfumes, we're talking about GAEA. At number 3 is a fragrance that you probably can't get your hands on. This is a fragrance I had a part in getting made. I don't take any credit for it because at the end of the day, it was all about one person and one person only. It was about my good buddy, Chris Giorgio. He was a good buddy to most people. He was a buddy to people that you wouldn't expect. He was buddies to people who often hated each other, but he was that common glue that held a lot of it together. He is sorely missed by me, and I'm sure by many others. This fragrance is something that I'll never, ever let go. I could spray every drop of this bottle and I still will keep it. I wear it very, very sparingly. This is a special occasion fragrance. This is something that I would wear to my daughter's first dance, or I would wear to our anniversary dinner for me and my wife, or this is something that I would wear for a special occasion because it's just super special to me. The fragrance we're talking about is AMBERCHRIS by House of Matriarch at number 3. AMBERCHRIS was created by House of Matriarch in remembrance of Chris Giorgio from the YouTube channel Mr. Siage. Chris and I had a great relationship and friendship off camera. We often talked at least 2 to 3 times a day. No, scratch that. 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. He just was very supportive of everybody. He took the time to let everyone who tried to do this know how special it was and how much he valued their opinion and their work. And he was always there to lend a hand. He was just a really, really good guy. Having said that, let's talk about what this smells like. This fragrance actually personifies Chris pretty well. It's a sweet, fluffy fragrance that has myrrh and tonka in it, which those were his favorite notes from his favorite fragrance of all time, which was Joe Malone's Myrrh and Tonka. This is something that is a great, great fragrance that gives you this soft, relaxed feeling, but at the same time, it has that sweet smell that makes you feel the joys of being a kid. It has the thickness and the heaviness of a niche fragrance that gives you the feeling of feeling important like an adult. It makes you feel everything you'd want to feel in a fragrance all at the same time. And that's exactly what Chris did for this community. Coming in at number 3 from the House of Matriarch, AMBERCHRIS. Coming in at number 2 is the only fragrance that I currently own from this fragrance house. But at the end of the day, it is a fantastic fragrance. It is probably, in my opinion, one of the best indie niche house fragrances that's out there, period, no matter what the season. And I think that it's often overlooked for a lot of other fragrances from the house. Coming in at number 2 from the House of Zoologist, CAMEL. CAMEL is an ultra-realistic fragrance that harkens to the Middle East. It harkens to a time of people walking in bazaars and camels walking to and from to get you to these bazaars. It has dried fruit notes in it. It has nut notes in it. It has spices. It has everything you can think of if you were to just picture that scene in Aladdin when they're walking through the bazaar and buying stuff and all the goods and all the fresh goods that are everywhere. This is just a beautiful fragrance, and I think the reason why I love it so much is not because of exactly what it smells like, but how realistic and how beautiful the composition is. Easily my favorite fragrance from the line, easily one of my favorite niche and indie fragrances of all time. From the House of Zoologist at number 2 is CAMEL. Coming in at number 1 is a fragrance from a buddy of mine named Brad from the channel Triple Ink. This was a fragrance that I found was perfect and special from the moment I smelled it. It is something that is quite unique, and I think it's hilarious because of what fragrance brand it comes from. Coming in at number 1 from the House of Parfums de Marly, the fragrance is HABDAN. HABDAN is a fragrance that comes from the House of Parfums de Marly, a house that is often viewed as a niche cologne house because most of their fragrances smell like something else. Which I find ironic because there are so many people who hate so hard on Parfums de Marly and say how unoriginal they are and how non-creative they are. But yet the one fragrance that is not that way is not the one they talk about. And they still own Harrod, they still own Leighton, and they still pump those up. But by all means, they'll hate on the brand, but they won't talk about the one fragrance or one of the very few fragrances that's ultra unique and ultra original. If I were to describe what I get from wearing this, it'd be fairly simple. Think of slicing into a warm, spicy apple pie. We have so many great holidays during the seasonal time that is winter, and there's so many get-togethers and gatherings, and I find that this one is one that when I wear it, people often notice it and think that I'm not the person wearing it, but there's some item on a table somewhere wearing it. And when I say an item wearing it, I mean food wearing it. This is something that is easy to wear. It's super smooth, it's super decadent, it's super beautiful and gorgeous. This is super smooth, super decadent. This is a fall and winter classic. If you haven't smelled it, sample it. If you don't want to sample it, buy it. This is something you can get around 120 bucks on the gray market. You don't have to buy it directly from them. You can probably find it from somebody in a Facebook fragrance group who gets rid of it. This is easily the most unique fragrance from the house. This is definitely something you should check out because I'm sure a lot of you haven't. Coming in at number 1 from the house of Parfums de Marly, HABDAN. So that's about it. I hope you learned about something. I hope you found some fragrances that you haven't checked out, some fragrances that you do now want to check out. I hope you've gotten a different perspective on some fragrances that maybe you've shelved or maybe you don't know if you want to wear anymore. I hope you found some new fragrances that maybe you haven't heard about or fragrances you haven't seen on other channels. I hope this encourages you to dig deep into the niche world and the indie world of fragrance. It's very big, it's very broad, and it's very fun and exciting, and some of it's very new. So go and check them out. Having said that, if you've watched this entire video and you've made it to this point, I do encourage you and hope you consider to subscribe to the channel. That way, my videos will drop directly in your feed. And if you want to take it a step further, click on the bell icon and that will set you up for notifications, meaning it will let you know exactly when my videos come out. And as always, and most importantly, I'll smell each and every one of you later. Peace!